I have joining me tonight the Minister of Transport, Mr. Amaechi, joins us from our Abuja studio. Thank you so much, Honorable Minister, for joining us tonight to clear the air about some of these issues, which has become a major source of concern for Nigerians. I watched your appearance at the House. It was some intense and quite charged atmosphere there. It seems you were not able to really convince the lawmakers, especially or basically on the issue of sovereignty clause in the agreement signed on behalf of Nigeria for the loan from China. Can you clear the air? What exactly is the issue of sovereignty clause in that agreement?
No, I didn't go there to clear the air. I didn't go there to discuss loan. If you said you watched the interaction between myself and the Honorable House, I wasn't an issue because the Ministry of Transport does not take any loan. Loans are negotiated and are the responsibility of the Ministry of Finance. So if you watch it very closely, you will see that anytime they ask me any question concerning the loan, I say, please refer it to Ministry of Finance because they have that responsibility. My responsibility is to deal with the implementation of the loan. And when it comes to the implementation of the loan, is the necessary finance that is made available to Ministry of Transport to execute the project for which the loan was taken for. But then, but I say mischief makers. I began to, Amaechi signed out. I don't sign loans. But that's not even the issue. There's a video that's gone viral now in the social media, in which I said what is wrong in Nigeria ceding its sovereignty to China. Yes, I'll repeat it here. The reason why I said that is because the sovereignty you are ceding is not the sovereignty that makes you a nation. That remains completely with you. And if you watch my interview with AIT, I was very proud to have been trained at the University of Port Harcourt, because as that training that I got from the University of Port Harcourt made me know that there's a difference between what the Honorable Minister of Justice explained today, between what is called diplomatic immunity, jurisdictional immunity, and commercial immunity. Now, just like our normal banks will ask for your collateral before they give you a loan, this country is saying, we're not Nigerians, we're not your father. So if we are going to give you $500 million, we want you to waive the immunity that will stop us from taking you to arbitration if you default. Because, you see, China will not walk into Nigeria and say, I take your property. China will first go to an arbitration. The arbitration will have to be able to see how to get Nigeria to pay the money. If we are not able to resolve that, then they will reach a decision that will attach, and that's the word in law, a particular property for which the Chinese would recover their money from. Now, so when people begin to say, oh, they see that, will China become head of state in Nigeria? And I made that joke, I said, China can come and be head of state, I'll be vice president, if that's what they want. The truth is that China will not come, and the Chinese Minister of Foreign Affairs have issued a statement that there's no clause ceding the sovereignty of Nigeria to China. There is none. What we ceded is a commercial immunity, which prohibits any country from taking us to court. That's the jurisdictional immunity that prohibits any country or anybody from taking us to court without us waiving that immunity. So when we waive that immunity, it enables China to go to arbitration to say, look, Nigeria has not been able to keep to the terms of this agreement, and we want you to resolve these issues so that we know how to recover our money. And then politicians, there's a gentleman who went to AIT. Oh, he resigned. And I wonder which university he graduated from. Certainly not University of Port Harcourt. He said he resigned. Resign for what?
Okay,
for signing a contract that empowers the government to execute a project. So are you saying those projects were not executed? Is there no Kaduna-Abuja railway? By the way, he said it's PDP. That loan was taken under President Goodluck Jonathan's government. The loan he's talking about, Kaduna-Abuja, was taken under President Goodluck Jonathan's government and signed by President Goodluck Jonathan's government. Don't forget that we told the whole world when we were commissioning that project that 80% of that project was executed by President Goodluck Jonathan's government. The loan was taken by President Goodluck Jonathan's government. And for that reason, we had to name Abo, the train station and the train infrastructure in Abo after President Goodluck Jonathan, for that laudable achievement. Now somebody now goes and say, you want to sell Nigeria. To who?
Okay, so let's clarify, let's clear the air, Honorable Minister. What is the implication of that clause when you say you see that the immunity? Which of the assets is Nigeria liable to lose should we default?
There is no particular asset. We will go for arbitration. They won't just walk into Nigeria and say, I'm taking over channels. We'll be glad if they want to take over channels, by the way. But they won't just walk into Nigeria and take over anything. They will go straight to arbitration. We will be invited to arbitration. We will negotiate. We will find a way, possibly, to pay the loan. But by the way, have you asked yourself, is there any time Nigeria has not been able to repay its loan? Is there any time? Currently, if you listen very well, you say you listen to that interaction between myself and the Honorable House, you will have seen that the DMO reported that they have paid about $98 million, for which we are opening an escrow account in our ministry now, where we will put surplus on revenue.
So, Honorable Minister, if you look at it, the convention of this sort of international arbitration when it comes to trade agreements of this nature, there is usually a third-party nation in this sense. Which is the third-party nation when Nigeria went into this agreement with China?
What do you mean by that? What third-party nation? The agreement between Nigeria as a nation, or Minister of Finance representing Nigeria, and then China Exim Bank representing the Chinese government. So what third party?
No, there is in that. So there is a clarification now. There is a convention of this sort of international arbitration. There will be a third-party nation
until there is arbitration. You can't just assume a third party. Listen, until that, supposing we don't get arbitration, supposing by next year the president gets angry and says, "Gentlemen, pay off the $400 million as remaining," and that to be the end of that particular loan. Suppose the president says that tomorrow.
So, but in that agreement, Honorable Minister,
want to buy.
Honorable Minister, in that agreement that I'm privy that I've seen, it does take Hong Kong as a third party in that sense. And Hong Kong is part of China. And that's one of the issues that has been raised over the agreement.
So, why do you want to assume that we will default? You know, it becomes criminal when a borrower begins to plan on defaulting. Why are you not interested in knowing the fact that we have already paid about $98 million? Why are you not interested in knowing that we meet our obligations every month? So by which time, before the next 10 years that is outstanding, we would have paid the $400 million outstanding. Why are you not interested in that? Why are you interested in who is a third party and who is not a third party? And these are standard, again, you must know this, these are standard, what do you call it, standard terms in an agreement.
But we are concerned in those areas that seems to be a bit worrisome and that is a bit out of the ordinary. Because if the normal convention is that you take a third party nation and you allow China to choose Hong Kong in this sense, should we default? Because
I've answered you the question. You want to develop your area. One of the greatest regrets I made as a governor of Rivers State is not with the closest I had with the gentleman who was in charge of World Bank in Nigeria. I should have gotten loans to do a lot of things in Rivers State. One thing that is peculiar about this loan is that they don't even give Nigeria the cash, the money, the physical cash. This money is paid directly to the Chinese company that we have chosen to execute the contract. So are you saying now that you're not happy that the Abuja-Kaduna rail is running? Or that we will soon begin to run the Lagos-Ibadan rail. What is the problem? That's what
it gladdens the mind of Nigerians.
What are the issues?
But the issue here is we're concerned about transparency in governance. And I mean, you are human, and people in government are human beings. You could make mistakes. But if I could ask you, Honorable Minister, there is something that you were trying to clarify and explain to the House of Representatives then, that you were saying that they should not probe too much into these loans, that it may scare away some of the lender. What are you trying to say exactly?
Now, the reason I say that is that we have already applied for $5.3 billion to execute the rail from Ibadan to Kano. We are about applying for about $3 billion to execute the rail from Port Harcourt to Maiduguri. If they know that already government, not individuals, that government agency, institution like the National Assembly is after approving, don't forget the National Assembly approved that loan. It's unconstitutional and impeachable if you don't approve, if you take a loan without the approval of the National Assembly. So the same National Assembly that approved the loan is now questioning the same loan and the terms of the loan. I haven't looked at it before. Then if I'm the lender, I'll be worried. And so if they get worried, they will say, oh, no, because we will not approve the remaining loans you have applied for. And don't forget, these are the cheapest form of loan you can get anywhere. They are concessionary loan at 2.8%. Where else can you get it? You think, when people ask me, and you think before we go to China, we didn't approach other countries. Most countries don't have money to give to us. So if China is making that sacrifice of giving us loan to execute infrastructure projects, and the infrastructure gap, the deficit in Nigeria is huge. It takes me 14 days to move a cargo from Lagos to Idu, Ministry of Transport. 14 days. The moment we complete the Lagos to Kano rail, it will take you 8 hours. I didn't say a day. It will take you 8 hours from Lagos to Abuja. What takes me 14 days? Do you know what impact that has on our economy? Are you not more interested in that? And then the National Assembly gets, somebody, I won't say National Assembly, it can't be the whole of the National Assembly. Somebody gets up and says, oh, in course of reading the agreement, we saw that the sovereignty has been, and what this person should ask, and don't forget I was in the parliament, I was in the state legislature. We are giving funds to hire specialists, experts, that are supposed to help us or educate us on a lot of things. What the chairman would have done is to look for the experts in that committee who would explain what those terms are. Shehu, I want to repeat to you and to Nigerians, these are standard terms. It's like when you want to board when you want to board a plane. Well, as you want to board a plane, you buy a ticket. Behind the ticket are contracts that you have signed. Shehu, those are contracts, they are standard contracts you've signed. You have no choice. Either you take it or you come down from the plane.
All right. So Honorable Minister, let's take a break. And when we come back, we look more into the benefits of what the Buhari government has done in these loans and what the future holds for Nigeria. The Honorable Minister of Transportation, Rotimi Amaechi, is still with us. Don't go anywhere. We'll talk more after this break. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Let's get back to the conversation with the Honorable Minister for Transportation, Rotimi Amaechi. He's in our Abuja studio. Let me get back to the conversation, and I will make reference, Honorable Minister, to clauses, the Article 8 of that agreement that you signed in August 2008 with some of your colleagues on behalf of the federal government and Nigeria. And the big question is, why China? And I'll give a few instances of the situation here. Djibouti, Sri Lanka, Zambia, Ethiopia, these are countries that have seen the hard side of China loans in the past. The coronavirus pandemic has definitely brought up a big question on our repayment plan. Nigeria is spending about 2 trillion to service our debt. It causes a lot of worry on how we're going to be able to service this debt. But in that clause, Honorable Minister, it does look so much that China is on the driver's seat in this case, because the clause 5, for example, says any dispute arising out of any of these connection with this agreement, each party shall have the right to submit such dispute to Hong Kong, part of China, to the Chinese law. Are we in trouble here? Must we collect this loan from China, Honorable Minister?
Just like I asked the members of the National Assembly, tell me the alternative. Tell me the alternative where we can get it.
Where else, Honorable Minister, have you sought to get loans outside of China?
Shehu, you have seen the Lagos-Ibadan Railway. Do you know how much goods it will move? Do you know that for now, with all the bad roads, we move 30 million tons of cargo from Lagos to Kano on the road? Do you know how much damage the roads have? Do you know how much it costs to fix Lagos-Ibadan road? For Christ's sake, I don't want you repeating that kind of question, because you make me behave like a politician and say I have no comments. That will end that part of the conversation. I have explained to you first that those are standard terms. We are not Madagascar. We are not Sri Lanka. We have been keeping to our repayment plans. And no country has ever complained that Nigeria is not able to meet its loan obligations. What you can say is that debt over revenue, we have problems. But that does not mean we have at any point in time refused to pay our loans. So why do it is only a criminally minded person that will say, oh, why are these times there so that we won't repay our loans? Why don't you want to repay your loans?
So the
why?
viability.
Why would you take a loan and want to repay?
Minister,
it is only those who don't want to repay that are worried about the clause. Because if we repay our loans, then we won't get to that point. We won't get arbitration. And I want to repeat, the Ministry of Finance has paid up to $98 million. I think about that, between $95 and $98 million. Can we get that back into everybody's head, that among those who are saying, why did you sign the clause? Those are standard international commitment clauses. They are clauses that are open when you go into trade. And by the way, the Constitution does not allow any government in Nigeria to take a foreign loan without the approval of the National Assembly, for Christ's sake. And
so what is
don't ask me that question, because I will also tell you that loan was signed by President Goodluck Jonathan's government.
You see, Honorable Minister, because
if that's what you want to say.
Yeah, no, because you're a public officer and you're serving Nigerians, Nigerians have the right to you to get these questions, these answers when things are not clear. And that's why we are having this conversation. But let me ask you, Honorable Minister, just a moment.
What is there that is not clear?
No, some of the conversation that we are having, not a lot of Nigerians are privy to some of the information that you are giving. And that's why we are having this conversation, so that Nigerians will understand the reasons why you are taking these loans on their behalf. They will be the ones to pay those loans back. The question is, Honorable Minister, what is the viability of the project? What's the viability of the project you spend these loans on?
You're not asking the reason for the project. You're emphasizing on Hong Kong, emphasizing on why did you have to sign the clause 8.1. That's what you're doing. You're not asking. Look, what are the
Honorable Minister,
of the
I'm a journalist. If there are gray areas in those clauses and people have raised eyebrows on those,
I've explained it 100 times. And you're repeating the question.
Honorable Minister, if I am not clear, and if Nigerians are not clear, we will ask the question. That's why you are in office, Honorable Minister, to answer to us.
What is not clear? What is not clear?
No, you have explained.
What is not clear? That the clause you are referring to, standard terms, standard clauses in international trade agreement. That's not clear to you. What is not clear that Nigeria has never at any point in time refused to meet its debt obligation. That is not clear. What is not clear is that Nigeria has been able to repay $95 to $98 million out of the $500 million that were owing the Chinese government. What is not clear is that Ministry of Transport does not sign loans because we are not responsible for getting loans. That is not clear. But let me take you to what is more important. In the part of the loan you're talking about is the Kaduna Abuja Railway, and that is the loan for which the President Goodluck Jonathan's government, that is President Goodluck Jonathan's government took that loan. What are its benefits? Today we move 4,300 passengers per day until COVID came. From 300 passengers in a day, we began to move 4,300 passengers a day. Imagine what will be the reaction of those people. Shouldn't we be grateful that at least unlike in the past where loans are given to government and they disappear, now this loan is not given to government directly. It is given to the company that constructs the railway, directly paid from China. So there is no room for corruption. And today, we are able to move any cargo from Kaduna to Abuja. Today, people live in Kaduna because of the exorbitant rate of housing in Abuja and come to work in Abuja. They leave at 6, and by 7:30, they are in Abuja and they are in their offices. Today, the economy, the movement of goods and services between Abuja and Kaduna is done in nearly 1 to 2 hours. The same thing will be applicable between Lagos and Ibadan, where people sleep on the road. I have been with Professor Wole Soyinka on that road for nearly 4 hours. I had to call my colleague then, the former governor of Ogun State, to come and rescue me. He even told me that he was on that same road, Lagos-Ibadan road, behind me, not even in front of me. But as soon as, and which we want to do, before September, we'll put that, with or without the stations, because COVID is not allowing us to construct the stations. We'll get the Lagos-Ibadan road to start running, pending when we're able to complete the stations as we make progress with trying to rescue ourselves from,
all right.
from COVID.
So, Honorable Minister,
we are also applying for yes.
Honorable Minister, I have two questions because we have some few seconds, and I don't know how you can help me treat these questions quickly. The first one, just in few seconds, if you may answer, what is Nigeria's repayment plan or agenda for these loans?
You need to call the Minister for Finance and ask her that question. The DMO is responsible for the repayment of loans. What we have done is that we have opened an escrow account to, where we currently run Lagos, Abuja, Kaduna, and the running cost in a month is about 90 million naira in a month, and we run 120 million naira in a month. So the excess of 30 million naira, from now henceforth, we will put into the escrow account for our own contribution to the repayment. But what is critical and important is whatever the repayment plan is, Nigeria has never, up till now, not been able to meet its.
So Honorable Minister, let's close on this note. And just in 20 seconds, Honorable Minister, are these projects, especially the rail, are they viable enough to be able to pay back these loans? And how many years can we pay from these rail projects back the loans?
I will talk to the Vice Chancellor of University of Port Harcourt to take you through the University of Port Harcourt. And I will tell you why I say that. The reason is that
I went to a very wonderful university, Honorable Minister. The University of Ilorin, perhaps the best in the nation.
Can I finish before we laugh about that? Yeah. When you and I meet, we can laugh about that. Now, in terms of repayment, what this railway does is that it services other parts of the economy. Because it's heavily capital intensive. So you will see that movement of goods and services, and I'll give a very elementary example. There was a period that the cost of tomato was very high in Lagos. The then Minister for Agri called me and said, please, can you put your narrow gauge, can you service your narrow gauge so that we can move tomatoes from Kano to Lagos? And when I did that, the price of tomatoes crashed in Lagos. Can you imagine what the cost of transportation, the contribution of transportation to the economic growth of the country? Can you quantify that?
Honorable Minister, we're out of time, Honorable Minister.
Other parts of the economy.
But I must sincerely thank you so much for coming and clearing the air on these issues. Thank you so much, Honorable Minister for Transport, Rotimi Amaechi. Thank you indeed for your time tonight.